morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Omar here. We're trying something different, and I've got Sundeep on the line, actually. How's it going, Sundeep? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How's your week been?
Oh, this week's been so busy. Even though I'm job searching, I had a busy week because, this whole year I've been trying to do like passive income streams. So I set up Fiverr a couple of months ago, and all of a sudden, you wouldn't imagine, like for about like 6 months, I had like maybe 3-4 orders. In the last, like this week, I've probably had like 10 orders, 12 orders. All of a sudden, a surge just happened. And I was like, wow, okay, yeah, I'm not complaining.
And I don't even know what Fiverr is, but before we get to that, just to introduce the session here today, we're going to be talking with Sundeep and on the passive income topic. Me and him were having a coffee this week, and there's a lot of layoffs, lots of, I use the word pain in the world these days. And, we were like, people need to make a little bit of money. Christmas is coming. It's the end of the year. Layoffs don't seem great. Everyone wants to make a dollar, and everyone has ideas. So, what I thought we could do here today is try this different style out and ask Sundeep kind of some of the passive income styles that he's been able to pick up, because unfortunately, as you've heard, or if you've not heard in our previous podcast, he's currently unemployed. How you feeling, Sundeep? Sorry, you excited to talk about yourself?
Nah, not really, man. I don't like talking about unemployment, but I'm happy to share, these stories because I think it might help someone out there right now who might be going through what I've gone through many, many times.
I definitely agree. And in this given time, passive income is top of mind, right? So not only just that, I'm hoping that we can help people, and then they also get an idea. Maybe they get inspired. Like you brought up Fiverr when we started this conversation. I want to learn a little bit about that. Maybe we kick the conversation off there.
Sure.
What is Fiverr?
Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised you haven't heard about it. But,
yeah. Right.
The thing is in my mind, creative services, like I feel like, everyone should know something about it, but the truth is, like, I'm learning like the hard way. So anyone who doesn't know, like I'm in the creative field, in like the marketing advertising space. So creative director, art director, graphic designer, copywriter, all of those things. So what was I saying? I was saying
you were talking about Fiverr and how we got started on Fiverr.
Yeah. How I
is.
just assume like people know like creative services like do, but not everyone does. So Fiverr is like a place where you can go and hire someone to create something for you, and they have like, they started off with just like $5 gigs starting at $5, and some people still do. And they offered like graphic design, copywriting services and things like that. And now it's like almost anything in like, you can have anyone create anything for you. And, I've had some interesting orders from like all the way from oh my God, what? Dubai.
What?
Dubai, yeah. Someone's reached out to me and been like, "Yo, you think you can think of some festival ideas for us in like Abu Dhabi and all that?" And I'm like, and we had a Zoom conversation also, and they're like, I'm basically doing someone else's job, and they're paying me, they're paying me not a lot yet because I'm just trying to like get to the next level on Fiverr. So I'm just like, if you don't know Fiverr, it's just like
Tell us. You know what? We're talking about passive incomes, right? People want to understand. Sorry, I don't know what Fiverr is. It sounds like it's a platform where you can sell some of your skills and people can buy some of these skills. Maybe you can explain what Fiverr is, and then tell us about how you learned about it. What did you do in there?
Yeah, sure. So sorry if I was rambling. I felt like I was rambling there, but
no. Hey, listen, this is an open conversation. Everyone already knows this, right?
Yeah. No. So okay. So there's a buyer side and there's a seller side. So I can talk to both. If you're a buyer, you're looking for someone to do something for you, right? Whether it's, create a logo, whether it's, create me now like AI images, or, like do anything like virtual assistants or anything, really project management, event planning.
So you're basically telling me if I have any skill whatsoever, it could be in any industry, I could list myself on this website and people around the world, anywhere could potentially employ me. Who sets the prices?
Yeah, you set the prices. So they usually have a placement for like 3 different tiers. So what I do is I normally just start at the $5 mark, and $5 offers you like the base, right? And it's just like, if it's like copywriting skills, it's like maybe like 250 words or something like that. I would say, this probably changed because of AI, but for example, that's just an example. And then like you set the next tier, and you could say like, you could jump it all the way to like $75. And because you're going to offer, like SEO keyword research plus like 2,500 words, and you're going to write them a blog article with an image. And then you can set a third tier, like go up to all the way to like, I don't know, whatever you want, $250, $300. And then, you offer everything plus the publishing aspect of it, plus the promoting aspect of it. So you can offer and you can set your prices for anything.
Sundeep, so exciting to hear about Fiverr. As we were talking to everyone here, we were talking about passive incomes, given the times. We want to help people. We want to encourage people. And, I'm so busy with work and, sometimes you don't think about these passive income streams. And it's a really good opportunity for people that are listening in that might, given the times, it's rough out there. Maybe they'll get encouraged. So what we want to do in this session here today is talk about passive incomes. Sundeep had a really awesome goal to pick up some passive incomes before the end of the year. He's picked some up and I haven't learned about any of them. I was talking to him this week and he was mentioning he hasn't even had an opportunity to reflect on them. So this is a good opportunity for us to learn from him on some passive income streams and see what his journey's been like. Sundeep, you were talking about Fiverr. There you go. I got the name right. Yeah. How did you talk to us about it?
Yeah, Fiverr. So if you're ever wondering, like what the setup is like, I should preface this. Like, I know we're talking about passive income streams and all that. But Fiverr right now, for me, like doesn't necessarily count as a passive income stream because you're actually the one doing the work. Passive to me, it means like, you're making money as you sleep. Eventually, if I get big enough on Fiverr, it could eventually look like that if I hire a team and all that, right? So if you ever...
Great point.
Yeah. So if you're ever wondering what Fiverr is a place where, if you have a specialized skill or you're willing to learn one, you can offer it to the world and they'll pay you for it. So you could set your prices. You have 3 tiers. So you could start at $5 to be a little bit more attractive if you're starting off. And then you set the medium and the high price and the services involved in that. And it's fairly simple. Like if you have any skills, like honestly, I'm on Fiverr right now and under graphic design, there are like 100 categories. So I know that might be like a little bit saturated, but under program and technology, it's the same thing. Digital marketing, video and animation, writing and translation, music and audio, business, data, photography, and now they even offer like AI services. So if you're an AI prompt engineer, and if you don't know what that means, it's just fancy terminology about like talking to robots. If you know how to talk to robots really, really well, then you can offer a service under AI services. So there's just so much you could do. People pay people on Fiverr just to listen, just to sit there and listen to them. You know what? People are having a tough time out there. And, that service was also trending at some point in the last few years.
That's really cool. Talk to me about how does one, like if I'm sitting here today and I'm listening to you and I'm like, oh my God, I got to join Fiverr. I have some skills or, I can offer something. How does one even get started?
So I guess you want to sit down and just figure out which skills do you want to offer and do a little bit of research. So let's say, Omar, you're in like talent acquisition, right?
Yep.
So resume or cover letter writing, right? That's a skill you can offer. Or if you want to coach somebody, have one-on-ones with them and coach them, like interview prepping, like that's a skill you can offer. You can literally offer any like virtual digital skill. So for example, if you set up like a one-on-one coaching session with you before your interviews, you have 3 tiers, or you don't have to offer 3. You don't have to offer 3 tiers. It could be 1 to 3 tiers. So you could just have a fixed package that says, $50. I'll sit with you for 15 minutes, and we'll go through a dry run of your interview, and I have knowledge in you can say like you have knowledge in X industry, and you could really like quiz them during this interview prep or whatever. I don't know how you describe it. I don't know your industry as well as you do.
No, of course I completely get it, but how do I charge? How do I get paid?
Okay, so you let's say you're charging $50. So one thing I learned today, the fees of Fiverr are quite high, like 20%. So 20%
to you, to the person who charges, like the creator, if you will.
No, so the creator and the buyer, you don't necessarily, the fees are just taken out of the final bill basically. So just like any other, like for example eBay. So if you got hired to do a job for $100, $20 goes to Fiverr.
I see. Understood. Makes sense. And how do you find clients? Like, people must be wondering, like, it must, like you mentioned, it's pretty saturated. It seems pretty simple to get started. Do you actually get business, and how do you navigate that kind of
Yeah.
oversaturated market, if you will?
Yeah, good question. Sorry, I think I forgot to answer your other question about, like, if I wanted to get set up, if I wanted to get paid and all that. So you set up your like checking account and all that, or wherever you want to get paid, and at some point, I think when you reach a certain cap, they'll pay you out. So I haven't done it yet because honestly, I just had a surge this week, but that's the way it's done. And if you're looking for clients and all that, that's a great question, like, so am I. But what I did so far and what I plan on doing, so what I did so far is on Fiverr, everyone's got gigs, and they refer to gigs as what you have to offer. So you can have, I don't think there's a cap on how many gigs you can offer. So one gig could be video editing, one gig could be one gig could be like video editing, and another one could be like, I'll create like audio for you or something or whatever. Okay, so yeah, if you wanted one tip I would give, and one thing that I did is like video, you hear it very often, like video trumps images these days, right? So it's just like, if you see something in motion on your screen, your eyes will go right towards it. So I used video in all my gigs. So like as soon as you click on it, a video will start. And I never did that before, and I was never comfortable on camera. And it was actually one of the first few moments where I recorded myself and tried to sell something. So you know what? As stupid as I felt like I looked, it brought in some traffic. Some people actually like paused, looked at my thumbnails, looked at my gig, heard what I had to say. I hope what they got from that was like, I'm a personable guy, and like, this is real. I'm not a robot, and I'd like to help you. And so it worked. So, I encourage you to try that. What I will do now is like, I'll promote myself a little bit better on the social media platforms. I probably make a long form video on YouTube and sort of like have it also live on YouTube with my contact information for Fiverr on it. So like there'll always be a connection. So yeah,
that's really good. That's a really good point. I love what you mentioned. Like engaging social medias, having your contact information leading back to Fiverr might help break through the saturation. Add free marketing. That's essentially what you're doing. Adding free marketing to getting people to your website. So when you say a surge, I mean, what does that look like? What is the last couple of months? Give us a running average. Let's say the last 4 months, and then compare that to the surge, if you don't mind sharing, of course.
No, I don't mind sharing. So I think, okay, so like I'm on Fiverr right now. I just want to look at my account for a second.
Sorry, I'm throwing some really rough questions out there. And Sundeep, like I what I believe in is that, as honest and as vulnerable we are and as straightforward we are with the questions, most we're going to be able to help people, right? So
yeah, I
apologize, and I hope that the questions are not landing.
No, it's totally cool. Okay, so I won't get into dollar amounts, but I'll tell you about in roughly around sales. Like sales, I had probably 5, I think I mentioned like 4 to 5 sales. No, I think maybe 6 sales, maybe like 3 or 4 reviews. And then that was like, I remember my last job being like 2 months ago. And then before that, I think it was probably another 2 months. So I don't know, I wouldn't say like 4 or 5 months ago, maybe even 6, it was quiet and maybe just 1 gig. And that brought me to 6. And then all of a sudden, it was this past week, I had repetitive business from 2 clients. And then 1 new one. And so that repetitive business was like 6 days worth of work every day. And then with another client, it was about 3 days worth of work all this week. And it's only Thursday. So I don't know what the surge, I like to think the universe isn't working on my side to help me out here. So look, I think, I think the surge is because of that. But it could be for a number of reasons. So I don't know. But yeah. So sorry, did that answer your question?
Yeah, that definitely answers my question. And thank you. Thank you for sharing about, like the surge and working. What comes to mind next is you mentioned clients were in Dubai, clients were worldwide. So what's communication look like? Are you communicating over email? Are you Zoom calling? And then how does that work out?
So how am I communicating with Fiverr clients?
Yeah.
Normally I just keep everything on the Fiverr platform. So I'm communicating that way. I mean, Fiverr flags you if you're like, if you're mentioning an email address or something like that. So you could talk. I recommend talking to off of Fiverr platform. Or like what happened this week was we were chatting, and my client from Dubai was like, "Do you mind hopping on a Zoom call?" And I was like, "Sure, no problem." We hopped on a Zoom call, and that was perfectly fine too. So no issues there. Like, we both speak pretty good English, and we got our points across. And honestly, it felt like I was back in the office. We were just having a call, and then we hung up. I went to work.
That's awesome. No, you know what? I want to ask you. I want to ask you about YouTube as well and your journey on that, because again, we're talking about passive income. So I want to rephrase Fiverr to just to summarize what I'm hearing from you. It sounds like an unbelievably simple process. If you've got a skill, you're good at project management, you're good at offering any type of service, you're good one-on-one, you're good at communicating with people. You take that skill and you list it on Fiverr. Your advice to us was that perhaps we also record an introduction video and leave it onto Fiverr and have channels like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as free marketing, taking you back to your channel in Fiverr, which will help generate some traffic and then really break through some of the many people, the competition, if you will, right? And then it seems like the communication is pretty simple as well. You keep the platform helps you with the communication. Sounds like the biggest drawback is the 20% that they charge themselves for the fee for making your life so convenient here, right? It sounds like, but all in all, it just sounds like it's a pretty straightforward and easy platform. If you've got a skill, check it out. I'm going to check it out. Sounds great. Thank you for sharing, though.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think it's a pretty simple platform to get started on, and now there's a whole nother conversation that could be had about combining your skill set with AI to make things a lot faster for you. And that's something I've been experimenting with also, and it's been working really well.
Talk to us about that. AI is such an it's unbelievably exciting. It's being incorporated in almost every angle. What do you mean? Like, how would you use AI?
Well, I'll give you an example. So when we started this podcast, it was, there was a lot of learning for me. How to audio edit, how to video edit, how to, use the microphones, like just everything, right? And even how to come up with topics and all that. So if I hadn't used AI to help assist in that, not to say that we're taking word for word from AI, but it's just another brainstorm buddy, right? So Omar and I, we came up with topics, but I used AI to maybe look at things from a different perspective. So there are things like that. There are AI tools out there that will help you video edit, give you sound, just about any tool, and there's a lot there for social media posting and things like that. So I've used a whole bunch, and I was telling someone that if I hadn't used this, I think my editing and everything probably would have been, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 weeks worth of time. And because I'm using AI and because I'm working really, really fast at the same time, I was done in a day if I put my mind to just one project at a time, a day compared to 14 to 21 days.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And how can I tell you guys, for people listening in, I have to tell you, me and Sundeep in particular, we use something called Notion. I never knew what Notion was, but once he introduced me to Notion, it's actually pretty phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. And tying it into AI, that's why I brought it up, is, me and him have generated ideas like he was telling you on this Notion board. And now him and me have built out different things using AI, different ideas that can help us brainstorm, not to use it to more. I love the way that Sundeep worded it. It's a brainstorm buddy, right? That's how I look at it. And that's a really good segue. I wanted to also learn about, what was the learning curve like on YouTube? A lot of people think about it. What are some things that you could share with the people that are listening in that might be helpful to say, this is the route that I took? And I'm not saying in any means that we're successful, but listen, we're two guys. We're having a really good time doing it. We're trying different things. And, you're always trying something different every single week. So where do you get these thought processes from?
Yeah, good question. So you initially have to have the curiosity to this figure out if whether or not this is something you want to do. And I had it for a long time. I went on YouTube and I didn't get anywhere until randomly I was one day, I think I just hit the right course. So like I made a random download at on this platform that I was looking at. It was a free course, so I downloaded it. I checked it out. It was by a YouTube creator. He's an ex-doctor. He lives in the UK. His name is Ali Abdal, and he breaks.
Ali Abdal is awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, yeah. He just talks about his journey, right? And what really like drew me into him was like his story. He was an ex-doctor, really busy lifestyle, right? And then he somehow is a productivity like guru, so like he finds ways to like really fit time in to make content at the same time. So he was sharing like tips on like how to study for an exam at whatever university he went to. I forget the university he went to, Cambridge I think it was.
Yeah.
And that's how he started. And then he just kept going, and he didn't stop, and he would record every day, and he just shares in his course, he shares his entire journey. And for him, success came really, really fast because he was consistently, consistent about it, everything. And he just every day just got a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And so like I really liked his course and what he had to share about that. And it's just you against you for like the first little while. He says no one is really tuning into your show, and it's true. Like you post something, like there are millions of posts every day. Why would anyone watch you? So really just use the first 50 videos as his suggestion to like get better and get better at it every day. And that like if you watch sports, that sort of mentality really speaks to you, just you versus you, like just get better at your craft every day. And I know when we started, right, this is not anywhere near where I think we're going to be, but I think it's a good start, right? And I think every episode, every time we've met, we've tried something different, and we've tried something new, and we kept experimenting. And even this is new, right? We're doing a session like this, and we're just going to find out what works for us. We're going to fall into our niche. We're going to fall into our interests. We're going to fall into like how we record it. We're going to figure out what our brand looks like. All of that's going to come. But like if we hadn't get started and we just sat there and overthought everything, nothing would ever get started, right? And so like I was just at that point where I was ready to go. And I guess you were too, Omar. And then when we met, we were just like, all right, let's do this, right? So we just like went at it.
And you're so right. And I watched that video too. What I love about and Ali Abdel shares stats too. That's what's helpful, right? It puts it into perspective. I think don't quote me again, please, but I think one of the stats was like 2 years or something like that before he even started to get some proper viewership, right? And and that helps ground you as you start this journey, right? You're like, and you got to have fun, right? At the end of the day, as you mentioned, we just, we're trying different things out, see what works, what doesn't work. But the one thing we are sticking to is consistency. Try our very best to do it every single week. And he also mentioned that. And there's something to be said about that, right? Consistency. But tell me a little bit more about anybody else. Like how was the journey of the first post? How did that make you feel? Were you nervous? And as it went up, how was the first evening when you saw the views coming through? Even if it was a couple, how did that feel?
Our first post?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Our first post, I think, yeah, we set it out there, and there was like very little traction, like one view probably the next day. And then I don't even think you saw it, right? So it was probably me. So it was very slow. And then, I don't know, it never really picked up. Honestly, it's still below 100. But it's doing, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I know when I was telling you I was going to post it, we had a whole conversation. You were like trying to talk me out of it in a way. Like, you were like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could post this about me, all like. And then because I had taken Ali Abdal's course, and you haven't at the time, I told you, I'm like, you know what? This is what this guy said, and I'm just going to do it. And I just need you to be okay with that. So I'm glad you were like, you're like, all right, let's do it.
I'm laughing so hard because I remember this, and I remember the conversation, and he's right. And it's great that he shared that, because again, it's learning from others, taking some courses, giving it understanding, just approaching it with a little bit more preparation. And I think that's what's standing out clear to me in the conversation. You listen to the guy, you understood what you're walking into, you understood what outcomes you can and cannot achieve, and that helped ground you. And we're still on the journey, to your point, right? Like we're still trying to see where we go. Yeah. Tell me something. Final question here, just before we log off. I know you got to go.
all good.
One piece of advice that you could share with someone, anybody that was looking at, let's not look at you, just looking at passive income, the way you worded it, passive income was great. Looking at maybe a little bit of income for the next couple of months. What piece of advice would you give them if they've been thinking about it for a month, they haven't put anything to fruition, they have a bunch of ideas in their head? Think back to that time. What is one piece of advice you would share with them?
Not overthink it. I think that is the one thing that just cripples you. And, I'm almost turning 40. I'll be 40 next year. And I just, like thinking back to all the ideas that I had, and I just never really pursued them. And they just sort of like dissolved from your memories after a while. Like, I don't want to do that moving forward. So like a lot of things that come to mind, like I've just found systems to like document them. So it's not the greatest system. Like I have a bunch of places where I write down my ideas just to get them out of my head. To make room for new ideas. But if I don't do that, it just sits in my mind and I just think about it and think about it and think about it until I get to the point where it's just like, you don't do anything about it. And all of a sudden that becomes your habit. You don't do anything about it. And then I didn't want to live my life like that. It's just like, I need to take action on the things I think about. And I think the things that are worth it and the things that are fun, the things that, could possibly make you another passive income stream. So that's how I look at it.
No, and I definitely agree. Don't overthink it. And I love that you shared a strategy. Did you tell me something? Did you ever visit those books that you wrote down your ideas in? Or is that where you're generating some of your thoughts now?
For this channel?
No, just in general. You remember how you were saying that you were taking, your ideas, you wrote them down just to get them out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you wrote them in a notebook or on a sheet of paper somewhere.
Yeah.
Are you coming up with brand new ideas? Is it a continuous churn of brand new ideas and you've forgotten about the ones you've written down? Or has that document that you used to write some of those ideas down come in handy?
They definitely came in handy. Like, for example, when I was they come in handy all the time. Like when we're working on this YouTube channel, my ideas all go on that Notion board right now. When I was working on the Etsy store, all my ideas went on sticky notes that are on my window right next to me. When I have random ideas, I have a notebook of that. So I have like a whole bunch of like ideas for like anything, like inventions, TV shows, things of all nature, like stories.
Oh yeah, you're an author too. Yeah, you talked about that in one of your sessions. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So I wrote 2 children's books so far. I have more to come. So I always wanted to like write a book, and I always thought maybe it might be an adult book. But when my daughter came, it just felt like I should write a kid's book, and I made her the main character. And my cat was the guide for her in that story. And it was all a story. It was a story about, like but like overcoming fear and the thought of fear. And if you can think of something scary, then you can think of something not so scary. And it's just training your mind at a young age. And that was sort of inspired, like on my journey, like for a better mental mindset. And, coming across like people like Tony Robbins, who really helped me along the way. So, like I wanted to see if, I don't know, haven't really come across anything that really shows them at a young age, these bigger adult concepts of mindset, healthy mindset. So I wanted to do something where I could teach them at a young age. So, I'm even thinking of putting the whole journey about that and my books and what I want to do on Kickstarter, so that maybe I can get some funding for, to do the illustrations and do them the way I've always envisioned them. So maybe I'll put it up on Kickstarter, if there's any listeners out there that want to back that idea, I very much appreciate that.
No, and I it's unfortunate. Maybe we need to do another session just like this, Sandeep. That's what I'm thinking. Like maybe we come together next week and we do another one of these audio only, because I want to learn about the author experience. That how did you even bring that to fruition? How did you even for me, how do I even go to a publisher? Like, what does that even journey even start or begin, right? So I think I know you've got to run, and as if you've been listening in or following our channel, Sandeep's got 2 kids, and Sandeep's got to definitely go take care of that tonight. So maybe we pick it up next week, and maybe we do another session on, maybe we learn a little bit about your author journey. It seems like it's really meaningful to you. I love that you shared that it's kind of teaching a good mindset, and you're right, there's nothing at that age, right? So I'm sure it might be informative, and who knows, maybe someone wants to become an author and it's helpful.
Yeah, most definitely. You know what? And I'm sort of liking this format too. I like the fact that, I've done all these things, but I don't really think of the journey around it. So, you know, for you to ask me, it's just like, I think it will be valuable information for our listeners. So like, yeah, I think I'm down for these because there's so much I've done over the last few years where, you know, a lot of people ask me, it's like, how did you do that? And I was just like, okay, I'll tell you. And so,
well, now you can guide them to our YouTube channel, right?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Now you have to be like, I don't have to tell you. You can hear me and my amazing partner Omar talk about it, and that's all you got to do. You can do it anytime you want.
Yeah.
So no, I think maybe that's what we'll cue in maybe next week. We'll talk a little bit about your author journey and you know, the publishing journey and what that looks like, and you know, even the site that you were going to mention to list it on, you know, to get some backing. I love your brain. You know, sorry to word it that way, because I feel like it's always turning. Like, come on, like we've talked about Turo on this channel, we've talked about Fiverr on this channel, we talked about YouTube on this channel. True. Sundeep's got 2 YouTube channels now. He's a published author, and we're going to learn about that journey. And then I'm just saying, like, you know, like usually people start their life, they get into the school, they get into the work, finding out some sort of passive income, and you know, I hope this information has been helpful for everyone listening in. We just thought we'd had some lighthearted sessions in a different format, really trying to see, you know, to help people understand where our passive income streams are coming from and what our journey's been like. And of course, in the future, so we can direct our kids as they go to say, this is how we all got it started, right? Just to kind of memorize, to have a memory of it.
Yeah.
Well, from me, I just wanted to say thank you for joining in again, and hope you found this helpful. Next week, we will talk about the author journey here. Sundeep, over to you.
Yeah, no, this is bringing back a lot of memories. So, you know, I'm glad to like reshare this journey and actually have it documented now. So like, awesome. If I can help someone along the way, that'll be great. So I'll talk to everyone next week. Bye-bye.
Take care. Have a great evening.